Hi, I'm Quinn Nguyen at EnerCom's the Oil and Services Conference in San Francisco, California. And joining me now is Steve Moore, President and CEO of BRS Resources. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about BRS Resources.
Well, BRS is a fairly new company. In fact, we just changed our name last week from Bonanza Resources to BRS Resources to kind of reflect a new direction the company's taken. I'm part of a new management team that's focused strategically on doing some different things. Prior, the company had a considerable amount of non-operated working interest in Oklahoma, and instead we've actually made a big acquisition in Italy, in the Po Valley, primarily late last year. So we're going to focus on Italy right now in the Po Valley.
And how did you gain access to Italy and this play?
Well, we knew about Italy for a long time. We've been involved in it, but there's just so much upside to Italy that we kind of worked our way into. We had a chance to acquire a company, Eliana Resources, or a percentage of the Eliana Resources, late last year. And Eliana Resources is the second largest leaseholder in Italy. It's only behind Eni, the state-owned oil company. So we as a group have about 750,000 acres, prime acres, in some great locations, particularly in the Po Valley. And the Po Valley is a very prolific gas-producing province that I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about. So we're going back in there. We're doing some 3D seismic work. We're doing a lot of interesting things right now there.
And tell us about some of the key attributes
of the Po Valley in Italy. Well, I think for starters, gas prices. And gas in Italy is over $10 an MCF. Long-term contracts are in the $12, $13 an MCF range compared to $4 here, so that's huge. Again, I said we have such a big acreage position there that there's a lot of room to run for a number of years, number of prospects to drill. I also like the fact that there's an infrastructure and the pipelines are there. If you drill a wildcat somewhere in the middle of nowhere, how do you get the product to market? We don't have that problem. We do have good infrastructure within Italy.
And so why is Italy, and in particular the Po Valley, starting to generate more attention?
Well, I think it really hasn't quite yet, but I think it will. And we're the first company, interesting enough, that's ever shot 3D seismic in Italy, and that's been the norm in North America for the last 30 years. All the gas we found really in the U.S. in the last 30 years has been found through 3D. None of that's ever happened in Italy, and so we've actually stepped in and through our 3D work have found some really interesting geological anomalies that are definitely worth drilling.
So what led you folks into this area?
Well, I think partly that we knew that the Po Valley was there. It's been there for a long time. It's actually developed back in the early 50s after they rebuilt from World War II. It's been there. We're falling behind Eni. They had to give up, relinquish a lot of those acres in the last 10 years as the European Union was formed. And it was just a nice fit for us to come back in, and we're really the next company right behind Eni. It's great because if you think about it, you got Eni and then a smaller independent, and there's nobody in between. And that could have never happened in the States, not the kind of acreage that we have.
And Italy imports nearly 80% of its energy requirements. Is all the current oil and natural gas produced in the country being utilized domestically? Oh yeah.
They're very dependent on international sources for their energy, more so than the U.S. Most of that comes out of Russia, and so I think the government and the Italians are a little worried about that stability. So they're looking for indigenous resources. Natural gas in the Po Valley is as good a place that they've got to find it.
And so, what are the long-term prospects for your company in Italy?
Well, this is something that's a company maker that could go on for many years. This is a better prospect, I think, the conventional than it is a lot of those big shale plays that are not getting a lot of attention in Europe. You look at the large land position that we have, the prices where they are. We're the first company to shoot 3D seismic Italy. I can't think of a better place that we could be right now than in Italy, onshore Italy.
Okay, well, good luck there.
All right, well, thanks very much for having me.
I'm Quinn Nguyen with OilAndGas360.com.